Welcome into NFL Daily. I am your host, Tom Downey. We're getting things started today with a mailbag. And if we do not get to your questions, my apologies. Hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. Any questions we don't get to, I will make sure I respond to on my Twitter. So follow me right now at WhatGoingDowney. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description. That way your lives are a little bit easier. If we don't get to your question, I can answer it for you guys on the Twitter side. First up here from Idontcarewhoyouvotedfor, do you see Justin Jefferson having an equal or even better season than his rookie campaign, or is he hitting a sophomore slump as many have in the past? I think from an efficiency standpoint, yes, there's going to be the extra game, so the raw numbers might look pretty similar for Justin Jefferson, but I would venture that he's not going to be quite as strong as what he was last year. Even if his numbers dip a little bit, even if he goes, let's say, 85 catches, 1,300 yards, and, 7 touchdowns again, that's an awesome year. So even if it's just a little bit worse, I still think Justin Jefferson is going to be a really, really good football player. From Shaun Conley, should the Ravens trade for Zach Ertz? Look, I'm not really that interested in going out and getting Zach Ertz. He's got an $8.5 million base salary. That's a lot of money for the Ravens to pay when they got to pay Mark Andrews in the not-too-distant future as well. So if they can bring his cap hit way, way down, sure. But Ertz is not better than Mark Andrews right now, and he's not a better blocker than Nick Boyle. So do I want to invest big in my tight end 3? Not really. From I am Javarius, why does Andy Reid never run Wildcats with Tyreek Hill, and when can we get a way too early Chiefs mock draft? The Chiefs mock draft will probably wait because the Chiefs are good and there's not much draft consideration to have there. As for why there's no Wildcats with Tyreek Hill, because they have this quarterback named Patrick Mahomes, and he's awesome, and you should never, ever take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands to do a direct snap to Tyreek Hill. Frankly, if you want to get the ball to Tyreek Hill, do the jet sweeps. Gets him already going full speed, gets him in motion. I like that a lot more than Wildcats and taking the ball out of your best player's hands in Patrick Mahomes. From Vincent, should the Steelers consider adding tight end depth? I think they're in okay shape right now at the position. Actually, I'm going to change this. No, they don't need tight end depth. Eric Ebron is there for the short term. They spent a second-round pick on Pat Freiermuth. They can get by, in all likelihood, with probably Zach Gentry as tight end 3. I know he's not a great tight end 3, but the options out there, the guys who are willing to be a tight end 3 right now, aren't going to be much better. If injury happens, knock on wood, it does not, then you can revisit that. And then you can explore other options if you're Pittsburgh once there's more opportunity for those better players. They don't want to come be a tight end 3 right now. He's never going to play. They're looking for a bigger and better role. So for now, Pittsburgh's just fine. From Miami 305, should Miami trade Xavien Howard for Stephon Gilmore straight up? My short answer is no. And as much as I love Stephon Gilmore, the number one reason behind that is fairly straightforward. Namely, that Xavien Howard at his age and his contract to an extent is a better value right now than Stephon Gilmore. Yes, they're both great. You could even argue Gilmore at his peak is a little bit better than Xavien Howard. Maybe, maybe not. But I will say this much. I think if you're Miami, why are you trying to get older? And also pay a premium for having already paid Howard, and you got to give Gilmore a completely new deal. So if you wanted to do it, I think the trade might look a little bit like this one here. Great job making that there, Bruce Jack. Xavien Howard to New England, of course. Dolphins get Gilmore. A third-ish is about what I would throw in there in terms of the value, like the difference between the two players there. I think both sides would actually probably say no. You guys can get your votes in which one says no first. Type D for the Dolphins, P for the Patriots. But I think if New England is trying to just pay Gilmore, pay him, like you don't need to get a different player who maybe might not be the best scheme fit or whatever. I think that makes more sense in the end for the Dolphins, for the Patriots side. For the Dolphins, meanwhile, go with the younger guy. That third-round pick, older corner, does it really matter that much? I lean no. But get your votes in. Who says no? D or P? Lil Ehden, can you see Zach Ertz on the Titans? I actually can. I think of the tight end needy teams, Look, I think Zach Ertz is certainly up there. Or Titans, excuse me, because they got Anthony Fursker and I don't know who else, really. I think it's a little bit thin at the position. So I don't want to take on his $8.5 million salary. I want a restructured deal. The Eagles take some on, or you wait till he gets cut instead. Daniel Shegog, favorite dark horse picks for every award. Jeez, okay. MVP, does Kyler Murray count? Because if he has the breakout year everyone is expecting, I like him. I think you got to include Dak Prescott there. He's obviously favorite for comeback player of the year. Might throw Saquon Barkley in there. Maybe put him in that conversation. I don't think Julio Jones counts, but he might be a factor in that one. Defensively, for defensive player of the year, haven't talked much about Jalen Ramsey lately on that side. I think I might go with him for that one. From Adam White, who wins the North if Aaron Rodgers is not with Green Bay? What a great question. All of a sudden, you can make an argument, I think, for the not the Lions. You can make an argument for the Bears if Justin Fields or Andy Dalton are great. They were the second best team last year. If Minnesota's defense is fixed, I would go with the Vikings. A lot of it depends on how good Jordan Love or whatever quarterback comes in actually is for Green Bay. I like their roster, but if it's not Rodgers at quarterback, I think I'd lean Vikings at least for the short term, and then the Bears maybe a little bit more so long term. From Liebird, should Seattle go all in on trading for Stephon Gilmore? On one hand, I get it. You're trying to fill your biggest need. That's at cornerback, where you don't have a number one, and you've got some question marks as to how good in reality your number twos are. Although you do have great depth, and that's part of the problem here. DJ Reed, Ahkello Witherspoon, Trey Flowers, Pierre Desir, Demarius Randall, 5 guys competing for 3 or 4 spots, I'd argue, on the outside. Maybe it's 3 if you want to include Trey Brown, because he's going to make the team as a 4th-round pick. You got 2 solid enough nickels in Marquise Blair and Ugo Amadi. So the numbers game is real in Seattle from a roster perspective and also from the cost perspective. You're going to trade, let's say, a 2nd-round pick, hypothetically, for Stephon Gilmore, and you're going to pay him big money. That doesn't make sense for Seattle, given that Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs and DJ Reed and Ahkello Witherspoon are all in the last years of their deal. Those guys are about to become a little bit more expensive. So make your predictions for me right now in the comment section. This question, by the way, will be the pinned comment on today's video. Where do you believe Stephon Gilmore will end up playing in 2021? Get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down, and get your votes in. From Mathew Newman, Gilmore to KC, maybe. The Chiefs have shown they can make it work. They can find ways to throw big money out there and add a big-time player, whatever, and make it work salary cap-wise. Fills a big-time need as well. However, at some point, it's probably a little bit too much for Kansas City. Now, they could extend Tyrann Mathieu, bring down his cap hit, and make it work. I would be a bit surprised if the Patriots, trying to still win games, would trade him to the best team in the division, or in the conference. Back to Vincent again. Will TJ Watt win Defensive Player of the Year for the Steelers? Earlier we asked about surprise candidates. I actually would put Minkah Fitzpatrick in that conversation. I love him. In the end, it's a stat-based award. If TJ Watt approaches 20 sacks this year, I mean, not gets there, but extra game after all. If he gets close to it, I think that, yeah, he's going to be inside that conversation. So I would not be surprised. We'll just have to wait and see. From Jaden, Frank Darby looks super fun. Do you think he will have a big impact for the Falcons offense? He certainly has the opportunity. Now, my expectation here is that you will see Frank Darby fight for the wide receiver 3 role. And that is a significant difference for me. For most offenses, you're using 3 receivers a lot. For the Falcons, however, I think you're going to see a ton of 2 tight end personnel, Kyle Pitts and Hayden Hurst. So I think there's the opportunity for Frank Darby, but it's going to be as like your 5th option overall on offense. So big impact in year 1. I wouldn't bank on it barring injury. And impact, very possible. From Mike Dibble, hey Tom, who are your top 5 defensive lines this year? No particular order. I'm going to count edge rushers in this group, by the way. You have to go with the Rams because of Aaron Donald, his presence there. Love Washington's front. Pittsburgh Steelers are awesome there. I love what the Bucs have done. I mentioned the Rams. I like where the Bears are at. If you can get better pass rush out of guys like Carl Lawson, Vinny Curry, etc., I think my other team would probably be the Jets. And I'd also mention to keep an eye out for the Denver Broncos and Cleveland Browns in that conversation. If you guys want more NFL coverage on Twitter, and if you want to have me answer your questions, hit me up at whatgoingdowny. You can follow me on Twitter. The link is right there, and right there, the URL, I should say, is right there, the handle. And then I'll put the link in the comments section and in the description. So if we don't get to your questions, hit me up on Twitter at whatgoingdowny. From a parody account, Tom Downey. Hey, Tom, Seattle gets Gilmore. New England gets a 2020 second-round pick and Trey Flowers. If not, what gets it done, big dog? I think your trade value is fairly close. I think that the Gilmore trade value is pretty similar to the Julio Jones trade value. So draft pick-wise, you're right. You can throw in a Trey Flowers if you want. I don't think he has much value. Frankly, I would wonder if New England, based on Flowers' cap situation and his cap hit, would view him as almost a negative asset in exchange. From Bobby Bottles, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Xavien Hawkins so far. Could he be the next UDFA running back to break out? So, how about Hawkins out of Louisville, signed with the Atlanta Falcons? I like him. Now, I think the big reason why he went unsigned, dude's tiny. He's not a big football player. So that's a big red flag there. I thought he was draftable. I was actually a bit surprised nobody picked him up. For the Falcons, where there's Mike Davis and not a whole lot else, for a team that wants to run the football, I think there is the possibility Hawkins impresses. I think he picked a good destination. Now, it might be more of a change of pace back. I like Hawkins, though. I would not be that surprised if he found a way to make an impact for the Falcons, as the UDFA, which, as a reminder, is fairly rare. I want you guys now to shout out your favorite team. Get your votes in for me in the comments section. What team are you the biggest fan of? Only one. You can't type in multiple there. Pick just one team that you guys love. Flood the comments section with your votes. From Mathew Newman, Julian Edelman to KC, what would it take? Convincing Edelman to unretire? Like, he's done. He ain't playing. So the answer is nothing in the end. From Robert Bruce, hello Tom, hello Sam, hello Jeremy. It's actually producer Jack today, Robert, but I appreciate it. Since the Patriots released Michelle and Burkhead signed with the Houston Texans, do you think Stevenson is an adequate rookie running back? Well, if you mean Sony Michelle, not cut yet. Now, they might, so I'll preach if they release Michelle. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I think this is going to be the Damian Harris show in New England, which is kind of was last year there. We will see if Ramondre can take over the Sony Michel row. If he does, then you could see New England move on from Michel. James White's back to be that third down back. Brandon Bolden will live forever as a third down or pass special teams type of guy there. So we'll see. But I'm not ready to give the reins over to Stevenson quite yet. Maybe, however, next year. From Gage Anthony, how much does Jamal get with Seattle? It's a great question. We'll go more in depth with it in the future. I think at minimum, he surpasses Justin Simmons as the highest paid safety in the NFL. I wonder, however, if Adams wants even a little bit more than just that. From Viper, do you think the Rams trade for Gilmore? Ramsey is recruiting him. The Rams run their organization like Madden. Who cares about draft picks? We're going to get every big name player. They were in somewhat on Julio Jones, even though it really wouldn't have worked out very well from a financial standpoint. In the end, I don't think he ends up in LA. They got Darius Williams, who played great last year for them. So I get Ramsey trying to recruit. That's cool. It's a smart move on his part. I would be pretty darn surprised if with the first-round tender on Darius Williams, with the younger guys to handle the nickel corner role, drafting a guy in round 4, Robert Rochelle this year, if the Rams actually got Stephon Gilmore.